Good morning, it's Monday, July 20th, and we'll resume our discussion on action and duty, but first I wanted to take a little detour because for the first time this year, when I sat down to begin writing on today's prompt, I found it really difficult to get started. And not because I found the prompt uninteresting or irrelevant. In fact, I think it was very important, so I'll have to come back to it. But right now, I found it very difficult to focus my thoughts on anything besides yesterday, as it was just as unexpected for me as I'm sure it was for anyone who viewed my video. So in an effort to get back to our regularly scheduled programming, let me offer some concluding thoughts and a postscript. So first of all, depending on when you tuned into these videos, you may or may not know this context, but the themes and the content that I present are never premeditated. I intentionally don't look at the prompt from the Daily Stoic until I wake up and start writing. For one, I want my thoughts to feel authentic and to not be heavily reworked or overthought. Two, I have a love-hate relationship with the challenge of forcing myself to think critically on the spot. It's a game of sorts to find the angle, structure my thoughts, and then attempt to make it coherent, all within 60 to 75 minutes. So yesterday, when I first saw the prompt about what forgiveness would look like, I immediately knew that I could go one of two directions. I could choose to keep it at a high level and just talk about the importance of forgiveness. Or I could choose to address the larger, more uncomfortable elephant in my room and recount my 17-year-long journey with finding forgiveness with my dad. I was initially hesitant to go through the exercise of writing and sharing the content because I knew that the subject matter would certainly have outward effect. I was aware that there would be some collateral damage, at least insofar as I was stirring up long-settled water for my family and our friends who experienced that ordeal with us. And if I caused discomfort, I sincerely apologize. But in my heart, I felt there would be net benefit. And to that end, I believe I was correct. From my perspective, I observed two things. One, as with any good journaling effort, it allowed me to stop and take stock of my many complicated thoughts and emotions. When I completed my writing and the dust settled, I took real satisfaction in observing how far I've come since 2003. We owe ourselves that reflection along the way. And number two, the more profound takeaway and the shell shock that I'm still dealing with today, although in a very good way, was one related to support, empathy, and tolerance. Hopefully it was clear from my message, but yesterday was not a cry for help. In fact, I would suggest it was more a celebration of life. At least that's how it felt on my end, as I was wholly unprepared for the outpouring of support and kindness extended my way. I wasn't looking for it, but I absolutely felt the love and the connection. I heard from old dear friends whom I haven't heard from in years. I read the private messages that I received from some of you through tears in my eyes, as some of you chose to share the challenges and tragedies you've dealt with long ago, recently experienced, or are just now having to face. Thank you for sharing that with me. And I was reminded, just as I'm sure many of you were, who might not have ever known that part of my backstory, that we so rarely know what others are going through and what they've been through. Just because they don't choose to share it doesn't make it any less real. And if we were privy to the demons and distractions that we all experience, we would absolutely treat each other differently, in a much more positive, loving manner. And that's a reminder that I take away for myself, not to assume that I know what anyone is going through, regardless of how close they are and what they choose to communicate. And in the absence of that information, to always lean towards leading with kindness, patience, empathy, support, and love. You never know who's going to need it most, despite what you see on the exterior. So thank you all for all of that positivity extended my way yesterday. I can't express to you how much that meant to receive. Now go spread it elsewhere. Have a great day. Bye.